This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 182 of the Stable Scoop Radio Show, Horsey Homes and Hoofpick Lights. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible. Equestrian Collections offers the whole universe of shopping at your fingertips. Shop online at equestriancollections.com. Plus, Kentucky Performance Products. Simple solutions, scientifically proven. On the web at kppusa.com.
Welcome to the Stable Scoop, with weekly shows delivered right to you. With Helena and Glenn the Geek, live from the stable, it's every week. They bring you the news through hail or high water, while using their tails as their own fly swatters. So sit on down and laugh till you poop, cause it's time again for Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop.
This is Helena B., and I am joined with a very special guest this morning. Who do we have with me today?
It's Coach Jen. How do I get to be a special guest?
Oh, you're always special. You're always special. And for those of you listening, this is the Stable Scoop Radio Show, brought to you by the Horse Radio Network. Oh, I love it when you come and join me on Stable Scoop.
I wanted to just say, we have the perfect pair of sponsors on this show. Because we have Equestrian Collections for the indecisive part of me, because they have like 1,500 different saddle pads to choose from, and I can surf and surf and surf and surf and surf and surf and surf. And then we have KPP, who makes the highly complicated and way too many choices on the market subject of supplements simple. This is what the science says works. This is what we make because the science says it works. Here you go.
So it's all in one. That's all we need.
It's awesome.
We just need a place to shop and something to appeal to the inner geek in us.
Yes.
and of course, to take care of our horses. Really, that's all we need. Maybe somebody who can cook for us. Maybe a food sponsor or something.
Oh, yeah.
We did have Perky Jerky.
You know, they never stepped up. I was disappointed.
I know. Well, it's funny because whenever we go to the store, Grace will point at a package of some kind of beef jerky, and she'll go, "Look, Mom, Perky Jerky or Turkey Jerky." I said, "No, Grace, that's not the right kind." Mm. And she gets so deflated. She loved that Perky Jerky.
Perky Jerky. Well, we're just going to let Perky Jerky go. It's their loss, and we'll find somebody else. You know, if it takes a Slim Jim, it takes a Slim Jim.
If there are any other food sponsors out there and you love listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show, send me an email at helena@horseradionetwork.com. We'll talk.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
One of my favorite foods is trail mix. So,
you're one of your favorite foods? I thought it was donuts.
Well, current.
Nice try.
Current. Well, you know how you have the favorite food that's the favorite food all the time, and then you have the trendy food.
Well, what's your favorite food all the time?
My favorite food all the time is donuts.
Yeah.
But my favorite trendy food right now, about a month ago, my favorite trendy food was oatmeal.
Okay.
And right now, my favorite trendy food is trail mix.
What kind of trail mix?
I like the kind that has dried fruit in it.
Yeah, me too. Do you like the banana chips and the coconut?
Banana chips. The dried pineapple. Yummo.
Yeah. Yummo.
Yeah. Because it's low guilt.
It is. It's low guilt. It's high energy. And it's really got all those omega-3s and that good stuff for you.
Yeah. But I eat it because it's tasty.
Of course you do. Of course you do. If they had donut trail mix, you'd eat that too.
I would.
So would I.
We need to combine that. A donut with trail mix in it.
Oh. So it would negate itself. Like the benefits of the trail mix would negate the sins of the donut. And so it's a wash.
Perfectly balanced breakfast food. It has sin and substance.
Okay. Do you see, people, now why we need a food sponsor? This is where we go with food. We need some structure here. Sponsorship does that for us.
Yes.
Well,
What do we got on the show today? We'll get back on track here. What's on the show today?
You get us starting about talking about food. And I thought Glenn was bad.
Oh, I'm worse.
I know.
I'm worse.
Especially when we're talking about donuts. Okay, what do we have on the show today? Well, if the title didn't give it away, we're going to talk about equestrian developments, meaning those communities, those real estate developments that are built around the equestrian lifestyle. Oh, ooh, right? Tell me we don't all fantasize about that.
Yeah.
And Jennifer has an amazing tack and habit pick. Something that I can. Oh, ha ha. See? All right. So why you got to get me all screwed up here now? Illuminated hoof pick. It's an illuminated hoof pick. It's lights. It has lights, people. So we're going to talk about the illuminated hoof pick by MJ Equine Tools. Jen is going to introduce us to that. And we have a really big guest. I tell you, I was shaking in my boots literally while I interviewed this guy. We are going to hear from Philip Dutton. Yes, that Philip Dutton, Olympic gold medalist, dual citizen, an Australian and an American. He's got a nice accent, too. It's nice to talk to him. Yeah. Nice guy, though, and he happens to have his winter training facility, Red Oak Farm, which is down in one of the equestrian developments we're going to be talking about today, Bridal Creek, and that's in Aiken, South Carolina. And the other guest with us today is Brian Carroll, and Brian is chief cook and bottle washer, stall mucker, trail raker, and executive of Derbyshire, North Carolina, which is another equestrian real estate development, and that's in Tryon, North Carolina, just around Tryon, North Carolina. That's around the Asheville, North Carolina.
Pretty there.
Yeah, very beautiful. Very old English fox hunting style. So we're going to hear from Brian about the nuts and bolts of equestrian developments these days.
Ooh, cool.
I know. You're going to want to move there. Trust me. I know. My poor husband, he's like, no more shows. No more shows. Every time you interview somebody new, you want to do that thing. You want to move here. You want to move there. All right. So, but before we do get on with the rest of the show, I want to take a minute to highlight one of our sponsors, Equestrian Collections.
Glenn the Geek here, and I'm with Debbie from Equestrian Collections with the Equestrian Collections Product of the Week. Debbie, what are we talking about this week?
This week I'd like to talk about the MDC Ultimate Stirrups. It's finally getting to be spring, although this year it's been spring here in the east most of the winter.
Right.
So people are thinking about getting back in the saddle, and these stirrups are really, really wonderful. I use them myself. They have turn. They can turn, and they have a way where you can turn 90 degrees, 45 degrees, a little thing at the top that you can turn so that you can put your foot at however angle is most comfortable for you. This is not only good for showing, it's excellent for trail riding. If you have knee problems, if you have foot problems, ankle problems, you can ride for hours in these and not feel it. My sister has knee problems, and when she uses these stirrups, she can ride on a 4-hour trail and not have a problem. They're also gorgeous for showing. They have springs on the outside with rubber covering them so that you have a very good, solid feel to your foot.
Well, I totally agree with you, Debbie. Actually, I know some people that use these, and the flexibility of your foot going back and forth, being able to move your foot back and forth with the spring-loaded action, and then as well as being able to tilt it to the angle you like, makes it so much easier on your knees. And I know a person that has knee problems that uses these for that reason and doesn't have the problem that they used to have with just the rigid stirrups.
And you know what else? It's also a safety feature because you can pick up your stirrups if you happen to lose one or for whatever reason that you kick off your stirrups while you're out. You can pick them up much easier with these stirrups.
That's the MDC Ultimate Stirrup. You can find them at equestriancollections.com. Just go to Equestrian Collections and put in the search box MDC Stirrup, and you'll find them at equestriancollections.com.
Welcome, Brian. Thank you for joining us on the Stable Scoop Show. I'm really excited about Derbyshire. It is an English equestrian community, so it's essentially a real estate development. Wow, it looks gorgeous. Tell us about it. Where did it come from? Whose idea was it? And how far along is it in its development?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show, and you are correct. It is very beautiful, and Derbyshire was a concept we came up with about 5 years ago to bring the English country architecture into horse country here in western North Carolina. So we got a group of land planners and engineers and designers and put together what's just over a 300-acre master plan community. Derbyshire is a gated community, and really just meshed it in to this terrific area in which we live, which has a tremendous amount of deeded trail access. Derbyshire directly connects over 165 miles of deeded horse trails. We're a mile down the road from a planned AA event facility called the Green Creek Equestrian Park. We are 4 miles from Fence, another huge 400-acre equestrian facility, and sandwiched in between two of the largest fox hunting clubs in this part of the country as well. So
those would be
the Green Creek Hounds and the Tryon Hounds.
Oh, right. Okay. Tryon Hounds I know of. So, boy, you're not like in the middle of nowhere. You're in the middle of a lot of other horsey people and so fox hunters. And what else is down? I mean, is it primarily like a hunter-jumper type community? Is it eventers? Is it endurance riders? Or is it a little bit of everything?
It's a little bit of everything. I would say our primary clientele is hunter-jumper, or really on the backside of a competitive career. We have the trails are probably our biggest draw, and again, we connect to the CETA and FETA, and that's Collinsville Equestrian Trail Association, and then we're connected to FETA, which is the Foothills Equestrian Trail Association. Those two systems combine for, again, over 160 or 170 miles of deeded trail access, and we're the confluence here at our community for both of those trail systems. People move here typically. We have buyers from all over. The Northeast is a big spot for us. They're tired of the weather, tired of the taxes, whatever, cost of living. And North Carolina is a big draw to begin with, and certainly the western North Carolina mountains are becoming a bigger draw. And so we really cater to a wide range of equestrian enthusiasts.
Okay, now is your I'm looking through your website and I see that you offer a lot of amenities. I mean, it's not just it's a well-rounded equestrian experience. So that you've got English gardens, you've got hiking trails, community centers, lawn sports, activities, things of that nature. But let's focus on the equestrian facility. I mean, how nice is it to have your home? So the people whose homes are there, do they automatically get to stable their horses at the barn? Can they build a barn of their own? How does that work?
A little bit of both. And if they choose to use the community stable, they can. It's for the private and exclusive use of our Derbyshire residents. And we also recently brought on some farms, or we call them private stable lots here, which allow for to have your own stable and as much acreage as you want here connecting to the community. Derbyshire is centered around a beautiful spring-fed 33-acre lake. It's a fully stocked lake. And just by coincidence, it's centered right in the middle of the community. So these horse farms that we have, in addition to the individual home sites, are all centered around the lake. So you can choose to have a maintenance-free home. We take care of everything for you in terms of the lawn and the landscape maintenance, or you can choose to go with one of our larger private stable lots that go anywhere from 10 acres to 20-plus acres, build a private stable, and keep everything really more self-contained. So
there's flexibility there. You can do as little or as much as you want to do.
That's exactly right, and that was the whole point. When we started the development about 4.5 years ago, the private stable lots weren't an option, but with the economy doing what it has been doing, we pivoted and found that a lot of horse folks, even if they're ready to scale back, maybe have less horses, this could be possibly a second home, although we're seeing more and more primary homeowners here, which is great. They've got the flexibility to do either or.
Jen, what do you think? Are we going?
I've already hired my Penske truck. Yeah.
I know you're looking through their website. You're awfully quiet.
Right now, I'm rifling around to find some newspaper to put the glassware in. I'll be there in about a week.
Well, one of the things that Jen and I laugh about this every January and February. I literally sit down at my computer and I do nothing but look at real estate from Florida to Virginia. And I go back and forth. I'm like, okay, Asheville area, Aiken, Ocala. Where do I want to go? Virginia, Pennsylvania. What is the draw? Like, where would I want to be? Now, you have this. You have X amount of lots available for sale. One of the things that I've heard in researching equestrian developments is that there are. It's challenging because you can buy a lot, but then it's up to you as the lot owner to clear it and get all the permits and stuff like that. How does Derbyshire handle that? Are the lots cleared already?
I'm sorry?
Are the lots cleared already, or what does the owner have to do?
Primarily, the answer is yes. And initially, when we first started, our idea was that the folks would come in, get to choose their perfect lot, and there was a lot of flexibility there with builders and designs. We had several designs commissioned on our own by these really wonderful architects. We've since developed another dozen or so designs, anywhere from 1,500 or 1,600 square feet up to as 4,000 or 5,000 square feet. And in different sections of the community, you can choose different size homes. Once you make your decision to be here, you get to pick your lot. And we have mountain views, we have lake views, and we have pasture views. And sometimes the lots will have 2 or all 3 of those views. So you decide whether you want a basement or no basement, maybe a half basement. When you make those decisions, we center in on the lots that fit your criteria. You buy your lot. We work with a small amount of, in my opinion, terrific builders that will then, you can sit down with all of them and give them you can use one of our pre-existing plans that's ready to go. You can modify the plan to fit your needs, or you can do a complete custom. So we really began to collaborate with the builders to get the look that we wanted and maintain the look throughout the community, but give the homeowners maximum flexibility. Once you sit down with your builder, the clearing and everything that goes along with the construction of a home, they take care of all that for you. We just started a home Monday, and the cottage is going to be about 2,500 square feet with a full walkout basement, and they broke ground Monday. It'll be 5 months. They'll have the certificate of occupancy, and our residents will be moving in. We've got these cottages down. They're very high quality, but great designs, open floor plans, very high-end finishes, and we've gotten the price points down and the construction time down. If you made a decision, call it February 1, this summer you would be moving into your home.
Oh, wow, that's a quick turnaround time.
It really is, and we have a very mild climate here. It doesn't get as warm in the summers as some places further south, and today it's high 50s, low 60s here in the middle of February. It was 70 degrees here on Saturday, so you can build 12 months out of the year, and like I said, the construction time, that we have great contractors and good skilled labor workers here, and you can get your dream house in under 6 months.
Jennifer?
Okay, I'm surfing. Available home, Marigold Cottage. Looks like
Which is
maybe this one
adorable.
just got finished, because I'm a bit of a minimalist, and I'm looking at this 1,520 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms with optional bedroom and full bathroom on the second floor. This one's right up my alley, and it's very Tudor. I want to take that one, please. I do have a question, though. One of the descriptions I read on the one home is it talks about using reclaimed stone and brick on some of the buildings that have a stone or brick exterior. Tell me a little bit about that.
Whenever possible, we tried to minimize the use of the materials that you would expect to see in a subdivision around any large city on the East Coast.
The famous urban sprawl that all of us are really tired of seeing. Yes.
That's exactly right. Asphalt, lots and lots of asphalt, and curbs and gutters that are preformed and precast and just set in, and everything really looks the same, no matter how large the community is. So we use lots of reclaimed materials. We search all the time for instance, the Derbyshire gates, which I think you can see the picture from our website, and the Wisteria cottage. We have reclaimed brick from a 110-year-old textile mill here in North Carolina. That's our main entrance gates. The brick banding, which you probably can't see, which is in the roundabout coming into the main Derbyshire gates, was reclaimed from an old Jim Beam distillery. And the
cool.
brick that we used to construct the Wisteria cottage is a 157-year-old brick that we reclaimed from the Dan River Cotton Mill in Danville, Virginia. And so any time we can find reclaimed flooring or big heart pine timbers or maple flooring, anything that has been utilized previously but still can be reconditioned and used here, we do it both in the community and we do it in the individual homes. So we have an authentic slate roof on one of our homes in the community. We poured our own curbing to look older and just not look like what you would see in a typical subdivision. So anytime we have access to those materials, we try to take advantage of them because it looks better, quite frankly.
It does. You know what? I'm a snob when it comes to that, and because I've always lived in an historic district, and while the houses look different, I think the consistency, or maybe it's continuity in that look and feel. I don't know if it's because it makes you feel like you're on vacation. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a tidiness, or it's a cohesiveness that helps you feel settled. At least it does me. I like it better, but that's my personal opinion. But it's a little bit more sophisticated, and it is more handsome. It's more attractive. And so I'm looking at the cottage collection, the Derbyshire cottage collection, and the price points I think are very interesting. And combined with the fact that you're using these reclaimed materials and that you're building and developing with a conscience, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different cottage styles, and your published rates are starting at $289,000, which is, I think, a really nice price point for a 1,400 to 2,100 square foot house. That's not bad at all. You've got direct horse trail access. Granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, hardwood floors. So we're talking here, it's affordable. The climate is nice. It's cute looking. Now let's talk about the horse amenities. Let's talk about
Give me the barn tour.
Give me the barn tour. Is the barn built?
It's interesting that you asked me that question. The barn, I met with our building inspector this morning. The barn site is graded and ready for the foundation to be dug and poured, and that will happen, if not late this week, we are shooting for early next week. So the Derbyshire barn will be up and be finished and ready for our horse residents late spring.
Late spring, okay. Now, what about pasture grasses? Have we looked into, look like I live there already. Have you looked into, is there plenty of pasture available? Is it, obviously people who live in North Carolina and live in these parts will understand how the grass feeds their horses, what kind of nutrition it provides and all that. But, what about bugs? So we've got grass, we've got nice climate. What's the bug situation like down there?
It's really not bad at all, and I'm speaking, of course, from my perspective, not from the horse's perspective. But we situated the community stable is on the highest point of a knoll, right when you come through our beautiful front entrance gates for cross breezes and maximum airflow. The bug situation I have toured, I don't know how many dozens and dozens of barns in our immediate area to figure out the things that we definitely want and definitely don't want in the community stable. The bugs here, I think it's really minimal. Some folks will use a fly mist system, most do not. I live here in the community myself and can tell you from living here for years that it's really a non-issue.
Bugs being a non-issue is a good thing.
So you've got the plot laid out for the barn, and looking at the floor plan for the barn, it looks like it's going to have 20 or so plus or minus stalls.
That's right. We've got, I think the initial design, we've modified that down to about 16, and the reason we did that, the main pasture area is just a little over 20 acres, and most all of it in established pasture. It's been here for years and years and years, and we've added to it, and the pasture has a good base. So from that size, the front pastures can accommodate about a little smaller than 20 stalls. We can add on to it with the demand to make it larger. However, in our overall plan, if you look at the map, to the north, I have about 120 acres that we turned into pasture almost 4 years ago now. And what we have been tinkering with is whether to extend or expand the main barn or have an annex secondary barn on the northern part of the property. Which
I vote for annex. How about you, Helena?
Oh, totally annex. It's good for quarantines and stuff like that, and
you got 2 votes for annex.
Yep, annex.
And that's the way that's the way we're thinking.
Not that we're telling you how to plan your development or anything.
No, well, you know what, we've been, one of the things with the real estate market over the last several years is it's given us plenty of time to plan and gather information, and we've been fortunate enough to be able to measure twice or 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So we have plenty of pasture to the north, so we may or may not have an expansion to the barn we're going to start next week, but we have 100-plus acres to the north, which multiple stable sites would also be closer for those folks who end up living in the northern part of the community.
Well, that'd be awesome. You could very, very short commute to the stable, which is always an appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, and each barn will develop its own little personality. It'll be like more community-like. I think that's a really awesome, perhaps, one of those happenstance things that didn't start out being planned that way. But personally, when I would look at something like that, I would go, oh, well, then there's even 2 options. I could live on the north side of town where the bluebells bloom in the spring, or I could live on the south side of town where the tulips come up. That just has even more appeal to me as a horse person, potentially looking for a community to live in.
Yeah, it's that, I think, during the course of this conversation, the options and the flexibility that you've sort of, I don't want to say been forced to, but that you've had the time to incorporate into the master plan, I think are going to make it more appealing to a broader range of horse enthusiasts, because some of us do want our own barn. It's nice to be able to share a riding ring or a covered arena, but we do want, that ultimate control over taking care of our own horses.
Admit it,
yeah.
Helena,
what?
You're a control nut.
I am. Well, it's fine. Don't listen to her, Brian. Wait, excuse me, but who taught me? Who was my mentor? Thank you very
Lots
much.
of us horse folks are control freaks.
Yeah. All right. Well, at least you admit you're one too.
Yes, absolutely. So the idea of being able to come to a community where you have a great deal in common in that folks who live here are going to enjoy the out of doors. They're going to enjoy nature and horseback riding, whether they participate or simply watch, but still have that option. You can enjoy horses and outdoor lifestyles whether you are a control freak and keep them in your backyard, or if you are comfortable and want to keep your life simple and keep them at the community stable. And I think that adds a lovely aspect of diversity that successful communities all have.
That's true. Yeah, because you don't want a community full of pro riders or just all recreational riders. It's if you can have that tiered level.
You don't want it too homogenous.
Right. All right. So, sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's exactly right. And what we believe is that this part of the country, and with the topography and the amenities that we offered, what it provides folks when they relocate here from somewhere else, what they typically look for is they say, okay, we're coming from Michigan or Florida or New Jersey, and we have 2 horses, we need at least 10 acres, and that's the way they begin their search. Well, Western North Carolina is no different from any other part of the United States. There are great places to live and great farms to be had, and there are other areas that you really need to come down here and kick the dirt and see what's all around you before you make your decision. And once they come here and they see what we've created, which is this little self-contained development, which is just, it's beautiful, and in terms of the things you can do, both equestrian and non-equestrian. In addition, we brought in all the infrastructure is already in, underground, ready to go. And I mean, we're in a rural setting, but we have all underground power. We piped in natural gas to every home site. We have city water and high-speed fiber optic cable to every one of these home sites. Then you have the gated aspects of the community, which when people ask me, what's that really mean? What I tell folks is that what it does is ensure that within a certain range what your neighbor's house is going to look and feel like, because we have a great set of covenants, and people really there's a ton of flexibility, and it's not like it's so narrow that if you don't like this one type of home, you can't live here. So we started the project, we sent our team over to England for 2 weeks, and they came back with just 2,800 pictures of cottages and barns and infrastructure and the way that they've done it in the English countryside. And those homes they're not 100 years old. Some of them are 1,000 years old. So the materials that they used and the lessons that we learned from that initial trip before we started planning and actually designing Derbyshire, it's what we believe and what we've continually heard from our buyers and our prospective buyers. They want to move here, but they want high quality. And Jennifer, just to your point, most of them have gone away from 4,000 or 5,000 square feet to the smaller home or cottage, whatever that size is, but they don't want to sacrifice. They still want the stainless steel. They want the hardwood. They want 10-foot ceilings. They want all the reclaimed materials. So what we've tried to do is meet the demand there and have it just a great place to live, where things are more controlled.
Mm. Mm. Well, that helps. That appeals to the control freak and both of us. Controlled. Brian, where can people find out more information about Derbyshire?
The easiest way is to go to our website, which is www.derbyshire.nc. That NC is for North Carolina.com. And all of our contact information is there. Like I said, I live here in the community and work here at our office, the main office right near the front gates, sometimes 7 days a week, so I'm an easy guy to track down, and you can send us an email or give us a call, and we'd be glad to send information out.
And are there any, what are some really neat upcoming Horsey events that people might be excited about the coming spring?
Probably the signature event in our area is the Blockhouse Steeplechase. That event tends to draw in the neighborhood of 25,000 spectators every year, and this year it is April the 21st, I believe. It's a Saturday afternoon down at Fence, which is the Foothills Equestrian Nature Center, and we are always proud to be a race course sponsor for that event. And if you've never been to the Tryon area or Western North Carolina, that's a great weekend to visit.
Great. All right. Well, we will post that website up on stablescoop.com. So if you don't remember it during this podcast, just go to stablescoop.com and we'll provide links and details about Derbyshire. And thank you, Brian, for joining us today. I am more excited now than I was before. Whether or not I can drag my husband down there, I don't know. But that's okay. I can dream, can't I?
That's right. Beautiful pictures on this website, folks. You got to stop by, even if it's just to drool.
Yeah. And so great job, Brian. And hopefully we'll be seeing you in person one of these days real soon. Well,
I want to move.
I'm exasperated. It's really cute. Their cottages are super cute.
You know what impressed me the most?
What?
Being a hard boot Yankee and being a minimalist. I grew up with sort of shaker tastes, despite the fact that my mom is a Victorian nut.
Maybe that's why you grew up with shaker
Maybe
tastes.
that's it. It was my own little version of Defiance. You have the option of getting it. It's far from simple, but you don't have to have a 5,000 square foot mega mansion.
No.
you can get a really beautiful, well-built cottage. I mean, now cottage is 1,500 square feet, but for two people, a dog and a cat, 1,500 square feet is a very comfortable living space.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
And it has that variety. It's not completely homogenized like so many, for lack of a better term, subdivisions are.
Yeah.
It's got just enough variety and things like that. It's like, oh, it doesn't feel like it got built in 3 years.
No, and it sounds like too that there's a lot of thought put into materials, layout, design, access to trails. It's not like some guy just decided he's not a weekend warrior real estate developer.
Right.
It sounds like they really know what they're doing. And that facility that they have, their turnout, they've got 20 acres for turnout for a 16-stall facility.
That's lovely, isn't it?
That's if you want to keep your horse there, or you can keep your horse on your own property, which I know they range, from 1 acre to, I don't know, 10 or 14 or something.
Yeah, I think there were 10 or 15 ones for the larger ones. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I have friends who live in Asheville, and they absolutely love it there. You said you've been there and you love it.
It's a beautiful place, and it does snow there in the winter sometimes, but it is definitely not New England. It's the kind of snow that melts 4 hours later. And it's just beautiful.
Just as long as it kills off a crop of mosquitoes or ticks or something, just enough to keep it real.
It's been my experience. Now, mind you, when we go to the Asheville area, we go to visit. We don't live there. We stay there for, 4 or 5 days at a time.
Yeah.
The bugs are not all that bad because it doesn't have a lot of the swamps and low-lying areas. It's very hilly there. So you don't have that standing swamps and water and stuff that really kicks up the insect population, and I found the bug population pretty darn tolerable from the equestrian point of view.
That's a big deal. Bugs are a big deal.
Yeah.
They could be a deal maker or breaker.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of bugs, guess I had the pleasure of talking with Philip Dutton this morning, and he and I had a little discussion about his place in Aiken, South Carolina. He has his Red Oak Farm is the Philip Dutton Eventing Winter Training Facility, and that is situated nicely inside an equestrian development called Bridle Creek. And one of the things we touched on was the bug situation there. Is it good? Is it bad? What's it like? So let's have a listen to this morning's interview with Philip Dutton, and he's in the Bridle Creek development in Aiken, South Carolina. Welcome, Philip. Thank you very much for joining me on the Stable Scoop radio show today.
You're welcome. Very pleased to be here.
Now, you're down in Aiken right now. Is that true?
That's correct, yeah. My horses have been here for a couple of weeks, and I spent a short time in Wellington, but I'm back here now for the rest of the winter, spring here in Aiken, and excited to be here.
Is it warm and sunny there now?
Actually, I think we're having probably our warmest summer that I can remember, warmest winter that I can remember. So.
Yeah, it's not too. I'm up in New England, so anything south of New Jersey is warm and sunny for me. Right. But it's been pretty mild up here too. And although I do fantasize about moving down to Aiken every January, I start looking at real estate online, and that's actually how I came across Bridle Creek. You have your winter training facility in Aiken in the Bridle Creek Equestrian Development. The name of your farm it's Red Oak Farm, yeah?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. So how did you come across Bridle Creek, and what's your involvement with it?
Well, actually, I was approached by, the investors who first came up with a vision to have Bridle Creek. So I've been sort of involved right from the starting stages of it. They purchased 1,000 acres of some of the most beautiful land in Aiken. It has rolling hills, which is pretty unusual in this area, and it has these sort of preserved streams that run through it. And they had the vision to build a horse community here. Obviously, since that's happened, they've been hit with probably one of the worst real estate sort of recessions ever, but they've done a great job. They sort of developed the first phase of the development has been done, and I think they're reasonably pleased the way that it's been selling, but their whole idea was not to make it as natural as possible, so the roads are all winding roads, and they've left, like when they started to prepare the land, the trees were not sort of pulled over and burnt. They were pulled out by machines, and so the ground has been left pretty natural. A lot of the trees are all natural trees. They've left plenty of them, and there's sort of more natural riding paths than sort of manufactured ones. And
right, so they didn't just clear cut everything, wipe it all out, and build something.
Exactly,
new.
And it hasn't got just square fences and straight roads. It's sort of they've worked with the land, and they've done a really incredible job to make it keep as natural, the Aiken natural beauty as possible.
How long have you been down there for the winter? How long have you been wintering there?
Well, actually, I've been coming to Aiken now for probably 20 years, and we've had our Red Oak farm, I believe, for 4 years now. So.
Okay, so long enough to be settled. So when you're down there, it's not like does a house come with your facility? Do you live in the house?
Yeah, we bought 30 acres, and we have a 17-stall barn, and then since we've been here, some other people have bought in, and Boyd actually rents 2 houses away from us, and Kevin Keane, my veterinarian, he's bought in, and so he has a 7-stall barn and a vet practice here as well. And there's a lot of full-timers here now too. People have bought in and live the year round, and Jessica Hanf has bought in, a Canadian girl. Well, she's American. She rides for Canada, and they built a beautiful barn. And we're also having it's been our 3rd fundraiser for the USCF Olympic team this year, and that's going to be held here on the property as well this year. So we've held them in the past, and that's a big local turnout that comes with the big marquee and ball and big fundraiser with dancing and that kind of stuff.
Oh, we all love to get out of our britches and get dressed up every now and again, especially if it's for a good cause. Now, that's coming up. That's in March, right?
Yes, that is and I think it's the 20th of March. It's a Friday, I remember.
All right, we'll actually post a link up to that on our website, so folks who may be in the area can buy some tickets.
Actually, it's the 16th of March. Sorry,
Friday, March 16th. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And now, so were you involved at all with the design of the community, or was it already planned and they just said, "Come on down, Philip"?
I certainly had no financial part of it. They sort of certainly asked my advice on some areas of it, but I can't really take any of the credit for it. It was their vision, and the Maybaum people now are sort of running the whole show, and we have a homeowners group as well, which has some say in it now. So as the development sells out more, then the homeowners take over, more of the actual running of how they want it to be listed. But in the beginning, I had some input on what they were going to do and what I thought, event people would like, but not really I wasn't a part of the partnership at all.
No, but I mean, you were able to offer your advice and consult in terms of what would make it a desirable place for a professional rider to come down and
exactly
and settle. Okay, which may have a little something to do with how nicely it's been received, I think, by the horse community in general.
Yeah, and it's actually certainly it is nice for professional people, but even if they just have housing lots as well. I think it's sort of it's a fun area for people to be in. Aiken is a great winter place to be, and especially if you have any horse connection at all.
Oh yeah, like I said, every January that little fantasy comes around. Well, what do you do with the kids when you come down? Does your wife come down? Do the kids come down with you in the winter?
Yeah, well, we have this one problem that we have, which is schooling, and so unfortunately my kids still have to go to school in Pennsylvania. So every year is a little different, but we try to do some weekends and obviously spring break, and the kids just love it. Obviously, like you talked about, the difference in the climate from Pennsylvania to here, and we have the golf cart for Mary, who's the non-horsey one, and so she likes to drive around and play with the dogs, and there's ponds and streams and that kind of thing. And obviously Lily and Olivia are the horse ones, and so there's miles and miles of riding and trails that they can go out and get lost and find their way home, and there's a little cross-country course and water jump and that kind of thing on the property. So there's plenty of kid-friendly things to do here.
Oh, it looks like a dream for kids. I mean, just to go out the back door and get lost, whether it's horsey or hiking or anything, like that. Now, how do your this is just sort of a general question. How do your horses make the transition from Pennsylvania to Aiken? Is it something that they can you tell that they like it when they get down there, or is there an adjustment period for them?
No, certainly they really like it here, and I have to say I feel that the Aiken area is very horse healthy area. We do have probably not as warm a winter as Florida, but I actually feel that that's healthier for the horses. Certainly having not as much heat during the winter. From a bug's point of view,
right.
Insect point of view is better. And the horses' coats, it really shows up in their coats at the end of the winter. They don't go as that dull and flat-looking color. So, what we usually do is try to get them here. And give them the first week to not strain them too much, and then get them back into full work after that. But there's been times when people come here and then compete on the weekend as well. I mean, it's probably 11-hour trip from Pennsylvania, which is not too bad. And because we don't have that real extreme heat that you can sometimes get, say in Wellington and Florida, the horses tend to adjust pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of, let's just say for a minute here, you're a regular person. You're not Philip Dutton. You're just, Philip Dutton, the homeowner, and maybe the recreational rider. Clearly, Aiken and specifically Bridle Creek has its benefits for the professional rider and trainer. But if you're just an amateur recreational person and you want to go and hack out, what do you think are the number one things at Bridle Creek for that kind of person?
Well, I think, Aiken in general has a lot going for it because it is a horse community, and it has been traditionally for a long time. First of all, you have a lot of access to everything that you need as far as from a horse's point of view, as in, there's lots of veterinarians, there's lots of horseshoers, the feed supply, the tack supply. The town is sort of steeped in equestrian tradition, so that you can just go into town and get whatever you need or whatever, so that you're not sort of stuck in the middle of nowhere and, comes emergency and there's plenty of options there.
You're not really out in the middle of nowhere. You're anchored in something.
Yeah, you're anchored there, and, everybody, you can drive downtown, everybody, you can ask a horse question and somebody will know the answer. So that part I feel, very safe when you especially you come to a new area that you want to feel that if something goes wrong that, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then the other part that is very good in this area, that there is so many events and so many facilities that you're able to trailer to within literally saying 15 minutes. And, we have events here on a Wednesday. There's an event on every weekend, all right around the area. Now, even if you don't want to compete, there's something that you could go and watch, or you can take your horse to in between on any day and go to a different cross-country course or a different training facility. There's so many different instructors and professional horse people in the area. There's also, just set up for training facilities like cross-country courses that you can just go on, even if you don't want to jump, just ride around. And so there's something that you could do every day. There's also a horse show grounds in the area. There's what the town became quite famous for in the horse point of view and was set up when the early settlers first came here. It's called the Hitchcock Woods, and it's thousands of acres right in the center of town, which have manicured trails and maps to send you on all different routes that are sightseeing routes that are, and there's people without horses in there too, and it's a conserved wooded area that is just set up for horses and people to recreation. And so, there's so many things that you can do, and the local community is very horse friendly, and there's lots of organizations and groups that you can be a part of and get to know people, and it doesn't take long to feel a part of a community.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to have to come down and check out a couple of those available lots. Really, it's a wonderful. I think it's a wonderful idea. The concept of creating a community around something that people are passionate about. Obviously, Aiken makes sense because everybody's horsey down there, and it sounds like you've settled in quite nicely. And to have your veterinarian and Boyd right there, and basically your posse all around you, and you head south. But then again, with your achievements, that's you go someplace and the world follows you, I guess.
Well, it is good. It's not just the Philip Dutton crowd here either. So it's, anybody's welcome, and we all do our own thing, or, we do have community get-togethers as well. So you can have it whatever way you want it.
That's nice. So there's a social life.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you, Philip. I know you're a busy dude, so I'm not going to keep you too much longer. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see you down in Aiken. If not, I will be rooting for you and all the horses that you've got in training right now. What are your big plans for the spring?
Well, it's obviously it's an exciting year. I think, it doesn't get much better than having the Olympics in London. Mm-hmm. So, everything's going to work back from there. Obviously...
Now, will you go right from Aiken to London, or will you go back to Pennsylvania first and then?
No, we'll be here in Aiken until April, and then we'll move back to Pennsylvania and base ourselves from there then. So, Pennsylvania is a great place to be as well, and obviously with my family being based from there, I sort of try to move back as soon as it's appropriate with the weather and that kind of thing. So we'll usually move back about the first week of April and then base ourselves from Pennsylvania then.
Yeah, but, the way this winter's been going, if April will seem like summer in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So, but obviously Kentucky's going to be a big one, and then I've got a horse for Samura as well in France, and once that's done, then the picture for the Olympics will look a little bit clearer on which ones to concentrate on then for London.
Like who's going and when and.
Yeah, and which horses look to be in form, and so it's going to be an exciting few months.
Oh, I'm excited! I'm excited for you. Thank you so very much for joining me today, Philip. I really appreciate it, and we will post more information about Philip Dutton eventing as well as Bridal Creek on the Stable Scoop website. So check there for links and more details about today's show. Thanks very much, Philip.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was a really fun and interesting conversation about the two very different equestrian communities, but two, I think both are really set up for success as far from the equestrian's point of view versus, set up for success to sell lots of pretty houses, and 20 years in, there aren't any horses there anymore because it's pretty and all, but doesn't really appeal to the genuine equestrian. And I think both of these places have that going for them, which is great. And any way we can convince folks in America to embrace the equestrian lifestyle, I'm all for it.
Oh, absolutely. And, the other thing is I think it raises the expectation, or maybe raises the standard of real estate developments in general, because there is a specific set of guidelines in developing these parcels of land. It's not like they're just building houses to build houses and people move in and they all have different interests. And then what you find is those interests, they tend to conflict. And, you've got tensions between neighbors. You've got a development that really has no sense of purpose.
Well, but now that it's harder to develop a sense of community when,
when there really is nothing to
there was no reason to put that pile of houses there other than the fact that people could move in and live there and sell a house versus,
right.
When society develops the old-fashioned way, so to speak, a town begins for a reason. There's a mill there. There's a river there. There's something there, and at least initially there's a commonality, which allows it to develop its own culture. And well thought out communities like this will have that. They will eventually develop a proper culture around them, which is going to really set them up for long-term success.
All right. Tack and Habit coming up. Let's see what we've got from Coach Jen today. She's got quite the pick, an illuminated pick. But before we do that, we are going to say thank you to Kentucky Performance Products, because Kentucky Performance Products sponsors this segment of the Stable Scoop Show. KPP offers a variety of great supplements, and one of those is Caraform. Caraform is a source of biotin, iodine, and zinc, which are shown to support the maintenance of healthy hooves and hair. These ingredients are combined with lecithin and full-fat soybeans, which provide a source of essential fatty acids, an ingredient that supports a normal, healthy coat of hair, which I don't know about you, but my two are shedding theirs like crazy right now.
Yeah.
So yeast cultures in this are included, and they play a role in the maintenance of normal digestive function. So Caraform is a well-rounded supplement. It gets a little of this and a little of that, and most importantly, it's affordable. So if you want to find out more about this and all of the products that KPP offers, you can visit them online at kppusa.com or give them a call at 1-800-772-1988. That's 1-800-772-1988.
There you go. And if you're like me and you already know about Caraform and how wonderful it is and makes Beaker's feet wonderful, just stop by your local feed store and say, hey, get me the Caraform. Comes in a big bucket, orange label. Give it to me now.
I might have to add that to my list of things. All right. We have a Tack and Habit product. This is Coach Jen's pick. What do we got?
We've got the Illuminated Hoofpick. Simple name says exactly what it is. It's a hoof pick with a flashlight on it.
Okay.
And it's very well thought out, actually. The ladies who designed this, we met them at the Ada show a couple of weeks back, and they were very kind to give me a illuminated hoof pick, because I looked at them and I said, really? This is actually going to help? It has a tiny little LED light under the pick so that it shines on the part of the foot you're cleaning. And I was a little dubious about, okay, little teeny weeny LED, that's really actually going to help. And I took it home, and I cleaned out some hooves, some in some reasonably well-lit areas. When I went, I really can't see the flashlight. And then I did some of them in the stalls. And the stalls in our barn, like many in the country, have one little tiny light bulb in the middle, which does squat.
Yeah. You might as well have like some fires burning, torches in the walls.
Yeah, you can't even see the poop, much less clean a hoof with that. So I used it in there, and it really, surprisingly, impressively helped. Typically, in the lighting that's in the stall where I was, you can see the basic outline of the hoof you're cleaning, but that's all you can see. If there's something random floating around in that hoof and you don't hear it go skirsh, skirsh against the edge of the hoof pick, you'll never know it's there.
Skirsh, skirsh. Yep.
And I went, wow, this really does help, in that you could see the detail of the bottom of the foot, so that if there was a nail that was a little, you get a nail that's partially pulled out, there's a small pebble wedged under the shoe, and unless you brush across it with the hoof or the pick, you'd never know it was there because you can't see it. So I gave it a thumbs up, in that little light does provide significant assistance in seeing what's inside that foot. And besides, it's fun to freak out people when you're in that stall cleaning the hoof pick and they see this little light zipping around. The girl who runs the barn, Darcy, walked by and said, "Do you have a flashlight on your hoof pick?" Because she was like hoping that's what it was.
Well, I guess the choice would be either between a flashlight on your hoof pick or a flashlight on your head.
Now, and I have the flashlight on your head version. I'd have those little headlights that you wear.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. A poorly lit barn, you have to have one.
Yeah.
The nice part about this is, in the type of lighting that you frequently see inside of barns with one light bulb, and it's maybe a cloudy day or something, I don't really need the headlamp for anything except the hooves. I can see well enough to do the other things I need to do. So this is nice because it's just there. It has an on-off switch, has a nice big fat button. So even if you have gloves on, you can turn it on and off easily with your thumb. So it's there for just what I need it for. I don't have to, dig that out because the headlamp doesn't fit in my brush box. It's a special tool.
Yeah.
So I liked that part. When I don't need the flashlight, I just don't have to turn it on because it's made like the kind of Hoofpick everybody uses these days. It's got the pick on one side and a little bristly brush on the other side.
Yeah.
So it's just my regular everyday Hoofpick, and I don't have to use the little light unless I need the little light.
Right. Okay, so I like the fact that you don't have to contort your head in 70 different directions just to get the light where you want it. So that's a good that's thumbs up for the illuminous part of the pick. What about the battery? Can you replace it easily? Like, can you get batteries at the supermarket, or does it have a special battery?
It uses AAA batteries.
Okay.
The batteries are installed when you purchase it.
Yeah.
It has, I think it's 6. Now, here's the only tricky part. The screws that the pick is made in 2 halves, and they're screwed together. And the screws are, what's the word? What do they call it when the screw head is below the surface of what you screwed it into?
Oh, countersunk?
Yes, they're countersunks. They're down inside there. They're not going to get caught on anything. But you have to have that teensy-weensy little screwdriver that you use to repair things with.
Okay.
So you might have to get a screwdriver if you're a person who doesn't have a lot of tools at home. You might have to buy yourself a teensy-weensy screwdriver to go with it.
Like one of those computer screwdriver things. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
you can get
usually
one.
buy them in a set for about $15.
Okay.
We have them around because there's a multitude of little things that we have to repair around here that require a screwdriver of that size. So we have them anyway.
Fair enough. Okay, that's a small investment.
So that's quick and easy.
Time.
And the battery lasts a long time because an LED doesn't use much juice.
Okay.
They had Hoofpicks there that they turned on at the beginning of the 3-day-long show and left them on for 3 days, 24 hours a day. And they were fine.
Okay.
So they do last a long time because, again, that was like, really? They're going to let... Because, flashlights, they die while you're using them. It's just a flashlight thing. So that was pretty good. Now, I've only had mine for about 2 weeks, and obviously I haven't used the light very much in 2 weeks because I turn it on, clean the foot, and turn it off. So we'll see how long it lasts for me personally. But because it's an LED, you are going to get good life out of your battery.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to have to add this to my tack box. Let's talk price. What are we looking at for an investment?
$24.99. Now, yeah, $24.99 is a lot, but this is what sold me on it.
Okay.
One of my pet peeves with brush-style Hoofpicks, the ones with the little bristly brushes, is the pick part is made of a very soft metal and they bend.
Ugh, I know. I'm constantly bending it back into place, yes.
Yeah, it makes you crazy. And you can't use it to pry anything open because it bends. So, A, it doesn't clean a foot very well, and B, it doesn't open a can of paint either.
No, it doesn't. And, your Hoofpick for $1 or whatever, $1.25 needs to do everything it possibly can.
But they made the pick part out of stainless steel.
Okay.
It does not bend.
Okay.
If you bend this thing on your horse's foot, you need to rethink how you clean horse hooves. You can practically pull the shoe off with this sucker.
Okay.
So that combined with the little bristles, they start to bend over. I'm pretty aggressive with the little bristly things because I actually scrub Beaker's feet with it.
I do too. Mine get all splayed out and everything after like 3 pickings.
Yeah, like an old toothbrush.
Yeah.
Well, the bristles are replaceable.
No.
Yes.
How does that work?
The same screws that you open it up with to replace the batteries.
Yeah.
The bristles are right there. They just set down in a little slot. You take them out and you buy, I think it's like 3 or 4 sets of little bristles in a set. You buy a little cardboard thing full of bristles. It's a couple bucks. So every 6 months or so when the bristles kick on you, you just replace those. Well, so when I added all those together, I went, okay, this is working for me price-wise.
Well, where do you get the bristles?
The bristles you buy from MJ Equine.
Okay.
Anywhere where you buy the Hoofpick, you also buy the bristles.
Okay. That's great. So you can buy sort of a pack and you're good for like a year.
Yeah. Depending on how aggressive you are with the bristly things, whether or not your Jack Russell gets a hold of it.
I'm wicked aggressive with the bristly things. In fact, I keep a brass brush I keep a separate brush. It's actually got the nylon bristles on one side and then the brass bristles on the other. Mm-hmm. Because my hoof picks never ever stand up to the
Yeah, they just don't cut it. They get all mushed down like an old toothbrush, and then they're useless. So when I combined all those things together, the price point of $24.99 made sense. If it was just a plain hoof pick with a bendy top and bristles that turn squishy for $24.99 and a light on it,
right.
Not so much.
Okay.
But this one it made more sense, and it has a nice big hole at the end. So you know how you hang up your bristly hoof pick? You have to put a piece of string on it because the hole's not big enough?
Yes, I saw that.
It has a great big hole in the end, so it actually hangs over a nail.
You know what you should do? I was thinking about this the other day. You know those retractable dog leashes?
Yes.
Or they have retractable gadgets all over the place. I think hoof picks should be attached to some kind of retractable wire or cable so that they don't walk away.
I can see it now. You pick up the foot, you go to clean it, and the horse jostles a little bit, gets his foot wrapped around the retracting device.
I know.
And you're suddenly attached to your
I know.
horse.
All right, file that under another one of Helena's bad ideas.
But no, that'd make a really good fun home video.
Yeah, sure.
You could win $10,000 with that.
Yes, I would. I need it to pay my medical bills.
Yeah, that's my item of the day.
All right.
In the end, I think if you or someone you know appreciates a good quality tool that does the job and does it really, really well, I think this is a good pick.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Very good.
And you can find them at mjequinetoolsinc.com.
Yeah,
and they do have lots of retailers out there, so ask for them at your tack shop.
They do, yes. We'll post the link to that website, and on that website you'll see a list of all the stores that carry their picks. So it's mjequinetoolsinc.com. Again, don't feel like you have to remember that. We'll post a link at stablescoop.com. That's much easier to remember. Well, thanks, Coach Jen. That is a great pick.
The puns just never end here at Stable Scoop.
They don't. It never ends. In fact, there'll be more. Because if you guys all log on next Friday, we'll have some more puns and bad humor and interesting topics. Who knows what that's going to be, but it'll be fun. For details about today's show, go to stablescoop.com. We'll post links to Derbyshire and Red Oak Farm and Bridle Creek and the Illuminated Hoof Pick and all of that fun stuff. We do love your feedback, so please follow us on Facebook. We want to hear what you have to say about our shows, about your equestrian development, or your crappy hoof picks. Many thanks to our sponsors, Equestrian Collections and Kentucky Performance Products. Make sure you visit all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network, and you can find them at horseradionetwork.com. Well, Glenn.
Oh, it's Jen.
Cut. Well, Jen. It sounds the same. That's it for this week.
And that's quite enough.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.